Hey all. This is not a story about one photo in particular, but a particular event, and a little bit of the story that leads up to it. We're going on 9 years since the Occupy Wall Street protests, and with all the tumult in our country, you could be forgiven if you don't remember this movement, which occurred way back in the fall of 2011. The epicenter of the occupation was Zuccotti Park in Manhattan, but many encampments sprung up across the country, including one in the little city of Albany. Albany was a little later to the game for an encampment. The Manhattan occupation began in early October, but Albany, which is always late to new trends, didn't receive the movement until about October 21st, when dozens of mostly young people made their way onto a patch of parkland situated across the street from the north side of the New York State Capitol. I worked in the Capitol back then. I parked in an open-air garage nearby where the squatters were. I saw them in the morning and on my lunch break, and when I went to drive home at the end of the day. One afternoon in late October, I visited the encampment with my camera. I will admit to feeling a snide sense of superiority over people I regarded as stupid hippies. But I was never threatened there. The encampment presented a strange scenario. Protesters initially set up in Lafayette Park, which is owned by the state of New York. Governor Andrew Cuomo, who would quickly become a target of the protesters, made the choice to have the state police forcibly remove them. The problem was, Albany's mayor at the time, Jerry Jennings, wasn't so inclined to give them the boot. Albany Academy Park adjoins Lafayette Park, and the protesters quickly popped their tents on the Albany property. What I saw there wasn't bad. The protesters didn't really have a clear set of grievances or solutions for that matter. They seemed to say capitalism was bad and banks were even worse, but solar energy just might save the world. The park wasn't dirty, at least not to my eyes. The problem is, the citizens anywhere can't just commandeer a public place indefinitely. And Mayor Jennings, he was patient, and he was probably hoping an early winter would drive them out. Too bad for Jennings. The weather in November was relatively warm, and it was warm all the way up to the end of winter in 2012. On December 22nd, after more than 2 months in the park, Jennings gave the green light for the Department of General Services to come in and start tearing the stuff down. Naturally, the police were involved. I had caught wind of this, and I went down with my camera as I was leaving work, and I shot some frames. I was on the city's side. Enough was enough. It was time for the encampment to be cleared out. As you can see, people weren't so happy. And why should they be? They had spent 2 months in a park, cold and wet, and largely ignored. There wasn't the same police aggression used against them as had happened in New York City, or in this famous footage from the University of California at Davis, where campus police just looked foolish pepper-spraying college kids. There were some arrests, but not many. To me, the most enduring frame I shot of Albany's short-lived Occupy encampment wasn't the cops moving in, but this photo of a little boy eating his sandwich one afternoon in early November. I saw quite a few kids in the park during the day when I would take my walks, and I'm sure some of these kids slept over at night. I'm not a big fan of involving small children in politics, and I wonder if this boy ever got the grasp of what the adults were doing, and why he wasn't at school or with his friends. Something about it kind of gave me a sad feeling, but he seemed to persevere. Going on nearly a decade, this boy is now a man, and I wonder if he remembers his time in the park. Perhaps he was influenced and will carry on the torch of social justice, economic equality, or solar energy, or whatever Occupy Albany was agitating for in those days, which now just seems so long ago and so tame compared to everything going on right now. Thanks for listening, and I'm glad that I can share this photo with you.